Okay, and yeah, that basically brings us to deploying our um, first smart contract. So you might be a developer, or you might not be, or you're trying to be a developer. Um, there is a language that is called Solidity that is used to write these smart contracts, and in a way you can learn how to do it. It's a fast changing technology, and I'm just gonna guide you through launching or deploying your first smart contract using very simple code written in Solidity. This is the Zinfin website. Okay. Okay, there's quite a lot of stuff to read on the website, as you can see here. It even has this comparison where it compares um, these different types of blockchains. So there's the Bitcoin here, there's Ethereum, and the Zinfin XDC. Okay, so here it says transactions per second, the number of transactions that Bitcoin can do per second. So with Bitcoin, it can only do 3 transactions per second. With Ethereum, 12 transactions per second. And with XDC, it's 2000 plus transactions per second. If we go to the fees, right now Bitcoin has some of the highest fees. Right now, if you're sending Bitcoin and if you don't pay a huge amount of what do you call it? If you don't pay a huge amount of in fees, it will take a very short time for your transaction to be processed. All right. So the transaction fees here for Bitcoin on average is 20 cents. On average for Ethereum is 13 cents, and for XDC that's 0.0001 dollars, right? Then time it takes for your transactions to be confirmed, 10 to 60 minutes, or maybe days, like what's happening right now. Bitcoin is taking days for you to be sent, or for you to be verified. Should we say to be confirmed? With Ethereum, it's 10 to 20 seconds, and with the XDC, it's 2 seconds. Okay, for us to deploy our smart contracts, the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna come to quick tool guide. So just to the right of your browser, the upper corner, you see quick tool guide, right? And then you see a lot of resources that you can make use of, things that you can make use of. So the first thing that we would need to download then is this ZinPay, um, this ZinPay MetaTask wallet. I'm going to show you if you can see it now. Okay. Um, so if you come here and just click on download, it will open up a new tab, and you can just edit. So here you cannot see, you can see it saying remove because I have installed it already. But if you have not installed it, then you have to click on edit to Chrome or to Brave, as it say here, depending on the type of browser that you're using. I use the Brave browser, but I recommend you to use the Chrome browser if you want to go through this process, right? And once you're done with that, the next thing, if you it will automatically install for you this um, this wallet that you can access from your browser. So you just have to click on the right corner of your browser here, and it will show you this little drop down, and it will show you how much you have in your wallet. And also you can go on the testnet. It will ask you to, okay, it's just asking me to reload, but if you open again, it's showing me that on the testnet I have 1,999 XDC tokens. And yeah, basically that is what this wallet is. So just go on the website, click on ZinPay download, and then it can download for you that wallet. And when you're done, just make sure after it has installed, you just make sure that you set up a password that you can remember, something that you will not forget, definitely. So make sure you do that. It just requires a password. So create that password, and then you're done. You can access your wallet. Now, if you want to fund your wallet with some XDC, just click on again on the wallet, and make sure that you click on the copy. You see your address here, because you definitely need an address. So what you need to do is just to click on copy here, and then you can go and paste it where I'll show you in a moment. So make sure also that you have this option selected, Zinfin testnet, and then go ahead and click, right? So we just want to add some funds here, and I'll show you in a moment how you can do it. Okay, so if you wanna add some funds in there, the next thing that you wanna do is go to the faucet so that you can load up some of these XDC. So with this faucet, you can only use this for the test network, right? This only works on the test network, right? That is if you want to deploy your smart contract, okay? And the reason why you need this XDC is because, well, basically when you are deploying a smart contract, it's very important, right, that you have these XDCs, because your smart contract will require them every time you're trying to do a transaction. And by transaction, what I mean is, if you try to call a function in your smart contract, let's say you call a function to say make or pay this for a bar of chocolate, then you will need that, okay, that XDC. So all you want to come and do here is come and paste your address here and say get XDC. So it will send about 1,000 XDCs to your wallet, and this takes on average 20 seconds for it to come to your wallet. Okay. So the next thing that you want to do, now that you have some money in your network, in your wallet, sorry, is go up and open the remix. So I'll just go ahead and type in again this. So Zinfin has its own remix IDE where you can develop your smart contracts. So that's a very, very wonderful thing, and you can just use this to develop your smart contracts, and when you're done, you can deploy, you can test it, and after you're done, you can go ahead and launch it on the live net. Okay, so I'll go ahead and change my wallet to go into the mainnet. I almost coded the live net. we're gonna start with a very simple smart contract, right? That just gets a value and then it will tell you what that value is. Okay, it's very simple smart contract. So if you go to my GitHub page, you'll see this code that is written my contract dot sol, right? The dot sol stands for Solidity, which is the technology that we use to make these smart contracts. So here we have a function that is requesting for a value, and we have a function that sets for a value. So the next thing that we want to do here is compile our smart contract. So if you click on this button, the next thing that you want to do is click on compile my smart contract.sol. Okay, then if you see this green tick, that means that your program compiled successfully without any errors. Then the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and deploy our smart contract. And it is very important that you also select which type of environment that you want to use. So for now, I want to use the injected Web3. And then here, it will ask me the account where my XDC is, or where my money is that I want to use to pay for anything that I want to do, or everything that I want to perform with this smart contract. Okay, so this address is from this wallet, and that's where it will take the money. Okay, after we have done a successful transaction. Then the gas limit is the amount that I pay for this transaction. So whatever that you use in a smart contract to pay is what is termed gas. You'll see it's the same also with Ethereum. The transaction fees is also is called gas in Ethereum. Okay, then here you just mention what you want to deploy, which is my contract.sol, which stands for Solidity, as I have mentioned before. So let's go ahead and deploy our smart contract. Okay, as you can see, I'll just try to bring this up, the ZinPay wallet. Okay, so after you have done this, it's now showing me that I need to pay this amount of gas, right? And the price right now is this one. So it's telling me that the maximum transaction fee is this 0.0000114 XDC, right? Then I have 3 buttons that are saying reset, submit, or reject. Okay, so the next thing is I'm gonna click on submit because I want this transaction to go through. So I'll click on submit, and it will go ahead. And if you can see from the top here, I just removed my video. It will tell you that the transaction has gone through and it has been confirmed successfully. So yeah, that's the next thing that you would want to do to check if the transaction has gone through. So the next thing that we want to do here is to check if our transaction has gone through. So I'm just going to drag here to see what this is going to bring up. So after this, you see the status. So this green tick is telling me that the smart contract was deployed successfully. The number of transactions that have been recorded here are these ones. Okay, so if you copy this hash value, which is the ID of the transaction, right? So every time you perform a transaction, in, or you do or deploy a smart contract, right, in the remix, the next thing is it's gonna be handled as a transaction. So everything that happens with a smart contract is handled as a transaction. And for every function that you call, except if you're just checking the status, it's gonna be charged, right? So let's just see what our function here can do. So we're gonna click on deployed contracts here, and we're gonna set a value like 2 and click on set value. Okay, so as you can see again, let me just bring the ZinPay again. It has asked me again for me to pay again, and I'm gonna do the same process again because this is a transaction, remember. So I'm gonna click on submit again. All right, and it goes ahead. Let me remove that. Okay, then the transaction has been confirmed. As you can see, it is saying here, transaction has been confirmed. That's wonderful, right? So that means that our smart contract is working. So we're gonna click on get value, right? So the value that we have put in, the 2 is here, right? Do not worry about this uint 256. It's just a type of a variable that you'll find in the Solidity environment, right? So, but it is giving us the type of the value that we have, that it is an integer, and the integer is 2. Okay, so that's it. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close this smart contract, and we're gonna do it with the last example. But I just saw a question here. So I'll go ahead and click on another contract, the election. I hope I answered your question correctly. All right, so this is a smart contract for an election. Before I go ahead, let me just go and delete these transactions that we've done already. All right, so this is a smart contract for an election, which basically keeps track of when somebody has been voted for, a candidate. Say we have 3 candidates in an election, and candidate 1 gets a vote. It just increments the vote, or the number of votes that candidate 1 or candidate 2 has got. So this is basically what our smart contract will do, right? So we're gonna go through the same process to deploy it again. Okay, so we're gonna compile first our smart contract, and then the next thing, if you see this green thing, it's just telling us that kudos, your smart contract is running without any error. And the next thing that you want to do is go and deploy your transaction. So also make sure that your environment is still selected here, which says injected web3, and make sure the account is correct that you're going to be taking the XDC to pay for the transaction, or when you deploy your smart contract. And then we're going to go ahead, and I'll just clear out this. Then the next thing is we're going to deploy our election. And again, I'll bring up this, and it says submit the transaction. So since we agree here, what we're going to do is submit it. Close this page, come back to our contract, And as you can see, it was saying creation of election is pending. Then the next line says it was successful. Okay, so just like the previous smart contract, my contract is the same thing. You get a hash value that you can use to check on this Explorer to check if your transaction went through. So the next thing that you want to do is then check if the contract is doing what you want to do. So let's set candidate number 1 first, and let's see what's gonna happen. Right, call to election.candidates. So candidate number 1 and this is candidate number 1, and it is telling that the vote count is 0. So this candidate does not have any votes at the moment. So the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and vote for this candidate. So 1 person, 1 vote. So I'm just voting right now. So I'll go ahead and cast my vote. Right. So as expected, it's gonna request for me to pay for the transaction. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that again. And as you can see, the amount is different from what we have got in the previous contract. So each and every transaction has a different value, or it demands different type, or a different amount, sorry for that, a different amount of XDC, or an amount to be paid for the smart contract. Then the next thing you want to do is click on submit. Right, and we just close that. It will tell us again that our transaction has been confirmed. Okay, so that's it. If we go back to candidate 1 and request information about that candidate, as I am doing right now, just a moment. Okay, I'll just go back and clear this, then request information about candidate. So it will tell us that his ID is 1, as we had seen again. Candidate number 1, number of votes that have been counted is 1. Right, so this is a perfect example of a smart contract that you can use for creating a voting system. And the good thing is that everything that is being done here is being recorded in the blockchain. So once a transaction has gone through and some XDC has been spent, you cannot go back and try to delete that transaction, right? Or try to add a transaction or 50 transactions at the same time, because it will need to verify. And if somebody adds any transaction, let's say, in a way, the blockchain will pick that up, and that will not be added as a vote. So as long as whoever is administering this blockchain and the smart contract is the one who's recording the number of votes that have been put through, or this whole smart contract it can do all of these things by itself, right? Records a vote count, then nobody can come then to put their own vote. That is illegal. Like, the smart contract does everything for you using these transactions, as you can